Episode 2 of My Perfect Stranger begins with news breaking about Haejun's death. He's been missing for a week now, but nobody seems to know where his body is. Haejun, though, wakes up next to this newspaper article in a time travel car and stumbles into town. He's also bleeding from the head, and after bumping into Hee Se-yeop, the latter is convinced that his shoulders are super tough, especially after similarly bumping into Yoon Young. Yoon Young pushes past Haejun and heads into town, knocking out our male protagonist in the process. Yoon Young heads straight for a club, following her mum. Sune is predictably left out by the other girls there, and as she heads for the bathroom. Yoon Young follows and excitedly calls out for her mum. Predictably, Sune sees the cut on the woman's head and the scarf, and believes the girl is delirious. More specifically, she thinks Yoon Young has been sniffing glue. When she rushes past and leaves, Yoon Young is left in the bathroom alone. Unfortunately, police show up looking to round up all the minors and take them home. Haejun hears about this outside and heads in, which is just as well because the head detective here, Baek Dong-sik, asks to see ID. Haejun manages to turn things around and claims to be their teacher, forcing all the kids to scuttle out to safety. This includes Yoon Young, who finally decides to play along. It gets her out the club, but once there, the pair discuss how they even came to the 1980s in the first place. Haejun brings Yoon Young back to his place, and decides to try and get the car patched up so they can return to their time period. He's quick to point out how she doesn't even have an ID or anything, so she needs to be careful in this time period and stay inside no matter what. Furthermore, they're nearing the point of the first murder from the serial killer 2, which is marked by May 14th on Haejun's calendar. In the morning, Haejun is pulled away to attend a big walking competition with the different townsfolk, while Yoon Young obviously doesn't listen to Haejun. No, instead she tags along with Sune, whom she's still calling mum. Sune calls her Glue Uni in response, in what ends up being a rather amusing segment. After talking, Yoon Young agrees to call her Sune and follows her everywhere. At the convenience store, Yoon Young looks around and starts to put the time frame in place, realizing that Hee Se-yeop and Sune met in 1987 and actually married a year later. It's immediate fireworks for Hee Se-yeop when he first sees her, but when Yoon Young gets involved, she realizes who he is and roughly pulls him apart to talk, demanding that he not speak to Sune anymore. Yoon Young calls herself Sunny's BFF and stands firm. Hee Se-yeop is not to be deterred though and remains determined to change Yoon Young's opinion of him. When Haejun returns home, he notices that Yoon Young has gone, but he also discovers that she has a Bong Bong Cafe matchbox too. Inside, he sees the sheet of paper and, putting his against hers, sees that it spells out the woman reading a book is in danger too. Now, who this could be referencing is anyone's guess, but given the next shot is of Yoon Young reading Sunny's diary. Could that be a foreshadowed clue? Either way, Yoon Young heads down to the dock and notices all the girls together, including whom she believes is Mi-suk acting like a bully, involving Sune being pushed into the water. The thing is, Yoon Young read Sunny's diary and the entries there are suspiciously similar to Mi-suk's book, published all those years later. It seems like she actually stole Sunny's work to leapfrog to superstardom. However, Mi-suk isn't the ringleader here, as she's one of the other kids that just falls in line. As for Sune, she admits to Yoon Young later on that she's still friends with all these kids because she doesn't feel like she has anyone else to confide in. As a result, Yoon Young speaks to Haejun, just after he seems to have patched up their car, and tells him she can't go back to the present just yet, as there's something she needs to do.